The Seven Kingdoms needs a ruler loved by millions with a powerful army and the right family name.
Good luck finding him.
Who said anything about him?
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into NB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, an outspoken MP calls the upcoming gender referendum propaganda, why the oil referendum is highly unlikely to happen this year, plus a new Bahamian company taking a refreshing spin on a Bahamian pantry staple. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on NB12 Weekend. Welcome once again to MB12. Amid concern that government will delay the constitutional referendum on gender equality yet again, outspoken Marcos City MP Greg Moss has labeled the gender vote a propaganda exercise intended to form public opinion. Moss urged the government to look to a brand new constitution instead of cherry-picking certain issues identified in the Constitutional Commission's 2013 report. Fani Toot has that story.
Marcos City MP Greg Moss has accused the government of wasting taxpayer money to embark on what he called a propaganda exercise to change Bahamians' views. He was referring to the constitutional referendum on gender equality and maintained that if passed, he will campaign throughout the country against bills number 2 and 4.
Do not go through this propaganda exercise that the government has now embarked upon, where we're using public money to inform public opinion, to change the minds of the public, which frankly is totally contrary to the Constitution. But we have done that, both parties have signed on to that, and no one seems to be alarmed at that the Constitution says certain fundamental provisions ought not to be changed without the consent of the people. And in order to affect that consent, to persuade that consent, you're using public money and public fora to try to change the minds of the people. That is troubling to me in the extreme.
Following 4 delays, the Christie administration hopes to hold a gender vote no later than June. The aim is to eliminate gender discrimination from the Constitution. However, Moss says he finds it troubling that government would cherry-pick just 1 or 2 items from the comprehensive report presented by the Constitutional Commission in 2013.
I think the better exercise is to maturely consider that report and to come to the House first with a new constitution, not with patching and trying to fix little issues that are of concern to you but don't address the real issues.
Instead, he says, government has taken a sensationalized approach. 4 constitutional amendment bills were tabled in the House of Assembly but remain in the committee stage due to concerns raised by both F&M and PLP MPs. Moss has made it clear he will not support Bill number 2, which would enable Bahamian women to pass on citizenship to their foreign spouses, or Bill number 4, which seeks to end discrimination based on sex.
My view remains that Bills 2 and 4 should not be passed by the government, and my view remains that if it is passed by this House, I will campaign throughout the country to be sure that the people reject it at a referendum. Because those bills bring with them so many negative issues. I've spoken to those issues before.
F&M MPs Nico Grant and Hubert Chipman have also said they are not prepared to support Bill number 4 unless the words "at birth" are added. Prime Minister Christie has said he does not want to delay the gender vote for the 5th time. However, Constitutional Commission Chairman Sean McQueenie told the Tribune recently he doubts it will be held by June of this year. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonique Toot.
Well, a promise made by government upon returning to power in 2012 to have a referendum on oil drilling by the end of 2015 is unlikely to happen, according to Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson. The Prime Minister had said that it would conduct a referendum on oil drilling sometime near the end of 2015 after the Bahamas Petroleum Company has completed its exploratory drilling and made a report on its findings.
The Minister for the Environment will have announced already that we will table the laws and the regulations to support drilling. The referendum will take place in the event that those who have been licensed actually discover that there is oil in the Bahamas.
Having spent nearly $90 million up to this point, BPC is on the market for a partner to fund the building of the exploratory oil well. Company executives say it's a 5 to 7 year time span before the project matures. Maynard Gibson said there's no need to waste taxpayers' time and money in an oil referendum if government is not sure there are actual oil reserves in Bahamian territory.
The Bahamian public, we believe, will not want to have a referendum on something that is speculative. There may not be oil. If there is, we believe that there is. They believe, most importantly, they believe, the prospectus, that there is oil. But in the event that there is none, why would we move the machinery to have a referendum? So we want to be assured that there is oil, and then the Bahamian public can decide on it.
BPC has an obligation to start drilling a first exploration well by April 2015, with a further requirement to commence a second exploration well by April 2017. Well, Central and South Abaco MP Edison Key says he fears the middle class will be wiped out if government taxes Bahamians to fund national health insurance. Similar concerns have been expressed by opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who said an NHI tax would increase poverty. Key says the Christie administration should only move forward with the January 2016 implementation of NHI if government can afford it, insisting it's a disgrace what they are doing to the Bahamian people.
I think we have enough taxes on the Bahamian people now, and I have no problem with national health insurance if we can afford it. But I don't think at this time we can afford it, because the people are, with the new taxation, that the middle class is going to get wiped out.
Health Minister Dr. Perry Gomez said last week that government has yet to determine how much NHI will cost or how it will be funded, but noted that the proposal presented under the first Christie administration called for a payroll tax. However, Key says in light of recent implementation of value-added tax, Bahamians can't afford further taxation.
We've been taxed unbearably with that. You know, just think about it. And like when I spoke on this budget, I said everything they come to the house is more and more tax on the Bahamian people. We have more and more crime, more and more unemployment, and people are very dissatisfied out there.
Key says Bahamians seem to have no rights these days, asserting that they're stuck with whatever legislation government brings to Parliament. Marco City MP Greg Moss, who has spoken out against several government initiatives, says while he's awaiting more details on NHI, he has a few concerns.
We already have a national health system, which is the public hospital system. And we're now talking about having a national health insurance system, which at first glance sounds to me as if it's just a tax to pay for the present national health system. If that's all it is, then I'm going to have an issue with it.
Asked how he feels about taxing Bahamians to fund the plan, Moss said this.
It depends. I am not in favor of any tax on the poor, the working class, and the middle class. In the absence of equitable taxation on the rich and an adjustment of the present taxation, mainly consumption taxes on the poor, working class, and middle class.
And the previous Christie administration estimated national health insurance would cost $235 million annually. Costa Rican-based consultant Sanagest International recently said it's plausible in some scenarios for NHI to cost more than $500 million. Well, the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda weighing in on government's decision to implement national health insurance. Prime Minister Gaston Brown said he supports the controversial decision by the Christie administration to have a national health scheme rolled out in early 2016. He said his government believes firmly in universal access to health care.
We have what is called the medical benefit scheme that insures a number of ailments. It is limited to some extent, but the medical benefit scheme does provide support to include medication, surgery, free of cost for its members.
In fact, Brown said his government is proposing an expansion of its own healthcare scheme to cover more treatments for various ailments and diseases.
It is limited in terms of the amount of diseases that are covered. So what we're seeking to do now is to expand that program and to enter into a national insurance program, which will be supported by our national insurance company, that is the State Insurance Corporation. So that is something that we are looking at, and we're hoping that within a short period of time that we will also have a national insurance, national insurance coverage for all of our residents and citizens.
Stay with us, we've got more when MB12 Weekend returns.